Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen, the Alliance for Loki, and we had the newest Eidol champion drop, that's Solvarch. I had a 42 of the Shattered Essence, and so I bought him 3 times as a 7-star and once as a 6-star. Always like him in all of his rarities. And then, of course, I ranked him up to rank 3 just because I had plenty of resources to do it. And so, yeah, I have a rank 3. This is just seen the, the stats. So yeah, of course I have a rank 3 Solvarch, and I've been watching a lot of videos on him, and I guess the big question is, how good is he? And so he's the third one we've had. We had Isophine, who she never really broke into the meta, Lumatrix, who's already become one of the top skills, and now this guy. And so trying to decide if he's good. Of course, watching a lot of videos. I've watched a lot of videos already. He seems really cool. And of course, there's a lot of hype. There's always a lot of hype around every new champion. But I want to come up with my way of trying to test him and see what I thought about him. So this is what I did. I went over to, this is Act 9, Quest 1. I think it's 9.4.1. And I went and found this path, which I thought would be a really good tech. It's actually a test. It's a tech-specific path, but he actually doesn't benefit too much from the tech-specific. And so this is what the nodes are. Let's see if we get to the nodes here. Here's the first fight. It has a good assortment of fights. So the first fight's against Gambit, and you can see here's everything. So Elemental Abrasion he doesn't get because he doesn't put any of these effects on them. And so Masochism over time is very normal, fighting dirty. They get unblockable. Fumble means you can't dex. I sort of forgot what that was. And if you intercept them, you get a lot of extra bonuses to your block, basically. And so I thought this was a good sort of realistic node that would be interesting to test him on. And here's the way I tested him. So first I took sort of a very normal, good champion like Bastion, I would say is one of the best attacking techs right now. And I had him do this fight. And so I wanted to see what Bastion was like. The one thing about Bastion is when he puts on Disintegrates, he does get that extra bonus. I am running recoils on all these fights, so both champions benefited from those. And I just want to see what it's like. So I went and did the Bastion fight. Again, Bastion's particularly good against mutants. I don't know if Gambit gives him any particular bonuses as a mutant. I eat an SB3, so I play sort of normal played. But yeah, so it was interesting to see what happened. And so I did Bastion, and I would say Bastion handled the fight reasonably well. Like 1 minute, 7 seconds, I missed pretty quick. Bastion ramps up quickly, basically an SP1, then spam SP2, then spam SP1s. And boom, the fight's over. Then I did Bastion against the next fight. So this is a non-mutant fight because I won both a mutant and a non-mutant. And I wanted to see what this fight was like. And so, again, this is a little more interesting just because, again, every time she throws her special, then she gets unblockable, and, Black Widow, she throws a special 1, you can't evade it, and Masochism means you're doing a lot of block, you can't really parry so much. And so I thought this was, again, a really nice test to see what she was like against fighting her with Bastion. And so do the fight with Bastion, we'll just fast forward to the end here, nothing too extraordinary to watch, but the end is right here. Nice SB2 to finish. And you can see Bastion does pretty well, finishes with most of his health, of course losing recoil damage, and takes him about 1:39. So Bastion, we all know he's a great champion. So that was round 1. Round 2 is we'll go do this with Solvarch. So we're doing the same thing, same fights, and I'll be a little more slow on Solvarch. So Solvarch, it really took me a while to get these fights down with him, I must admit. But the big thing about Solvarch is, of course, building up his charges. That's the little blue thing up there. And then sort of going between his 2 modes. And so I would say it took me a while to sort of figure out optimum play for him. And so I'm trying to get up to his highest mode. And then I want to launch my SB2 because I need to get a bunch of armors, which I'm going to convert to Energize. I would say the first thing I noticed about Solvarch is that he's definitely more complicated. I mean, so here I am firing off the SB2. It gives me the 15 armors, but of course that's the expense of all my charges. Like, luckily against mutants, he ramps up pretty quick, and so that is nice. Here his cold snap is not great because it activates the Masochism, so actually I think I stopped using cold snaps after a while. And luckily, though, Gambit is a mutant, so his charges build up pretty quick. So here I'm trying to build up all the charges. I go ahead and throw them now, and you can see my charges are both counting down and counting up because I get lots of extra points from mutants. But here's a problem. Like, notice that Gambit is stalling. And so I'm losing all my charges. I'm trying to get to my big SB2. And my big SB2, of course, would do a lot of extra damage if I'm close to 100 of my charges. Here, I'm only at 16, so I barely do any extra. I do put on a nice big heal block. So yeah, in this case, not so great. So I have to sort of go through the whole process again of, and I need to use an SB1 to get back to my my other mode so I can build up my armor, so I can get the energize, and yes. And so yeah, it's definitely more complex. Even against, I would say, a good matchup, I feel like I do a little better. Let's see what happens here. So here I'm at 100 charges. I have lots of power. I think I go for an SP1. Yep, oh no, did I go for an SP1? Yes, I built up all my energizes. And then, and now, oh no, I went back. Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing there. But anyway, so I definitely played around with him a lot. So I got my energizes here, 73, building up quickly. Holding block's nice because every time it hits me, do a big SB2, and maybe this finishes the fight. Maybe I do one more SB2. No, he throws a special, and okay, well, I finished the fight. So anyway, more complex, definitely more complex. Not as great for this mode too because of the masochism. How long did it take me to do that fight? Maybe I forgot to stop it quickly enough to see. So we can take a look and see. Took me 3 minutes. Is that what it took? And I feel like I did pretty well with this fight. 3 minutes and 5 seconds. I feel like I did pretty well with this fight, to be honest. And so it definitely took a while. Now we have the same fight against Black Widow, and this fight becomes even more challenging for Solvarch because she's not a mutant, so I won't be able to build up my charges as quick. Again, having to deal with the masochism. So mutants, every time they hit you or you block their hits, you gain charges. He also gains his charges by using his medium to get the cold snap. And again, with masochism, it's really tough to do just because, every time you do that, you give her lots of healing. And so, yeah, it's a very interesting fight, and trying to always push her to an SB2. We'll sort of see the first rotation. I'll fast forward through the fight. So yeah, getting her SB2, now I should be ready to launch my SB2. So the SB2 allows me to build up my armor. So here it comes. Let's see, armor time, SB2. Well, maybe not. I don't know what I'm thinking. Of course, it's always hard to remember what I'm thinking these fights. Okay, there it is, SB2, and then it must be armor time. And you throw the SB2 because you want to build up the armors. That way you can throw the SB1 and build up the energizes. But again, my big thing is I want to make sure I have lots of charges, and I'm getting 1 per second, which is not a lot. I think like she does energy damage when I block her, so I think she's actually a reasonably good Solvarch opponent too, because I see my energy like popping up a little bit every time I block one of her hits. And so probably should have blocked all these hits in. Okay, so I think, do we go for an SB1 now? Yes, so here's the SB1. We get all the energizes, get out 10 energizes. And again, counting down, I'm sort of trying to be aggressive, launch my SB2. It's doing pretty good damage. It's doing, about half and half, I'd say. Like the red numbers are about half of my what you call it. Yeah, this is popping up my charges. So she is doing energy damage, so that's great. Look, I'm already at 100. So, yep, launch a big SB2. Okay, I knew I was going to get hit by the SB3, but I was like, let's go for it, and fine. She SB3s me. But anyway, this fight's going reasonably quick. So this was a relatively good fight for Solvarch because, yeah, she's an energy attacker. And in the end, even though I ate SB3, I finished the fight relatively quick. And so here is the finish of the fight. So the finish fight, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. So where does that lead me? Well, that leads me to my first analysis. My first analysis is that Solvarch is difficult. Even with like pretty good matchups like facing a mutant or facing energy damage, he's slower than Bastion. Utility-wise, I mean, Bastion can put the heavy on if he needs to stop evade. Whereas Solvarch, he can stop evade with a cold snap. In this case, it doesn't work because it's a debuff. Like I'd say Bastion has the edge because his is a passive neutralized evade counter, while Solvarch is not. It's at the end of his second medium too. And yeah, I would say definitely Bastion is a better champion based on this little bit of testing. I go ahead and now and just see how far I can do fights. I end up doing 4 fights with each. I just want to see how sustainable each one. So we've seen this fight already. I'll just sort of fast forward it. So Bastion takes care of Gambit, one minute 15 seconds, so about the same as before. Bastion takes care of Black Widow, Deadly Origins, 1 minute 26 seconds. So it's good to see that, it wasn't a fluke each time. Now I have, and look at Bastion's health. Bastion's health is higher. That's the other thing about Solvarch. I mean, he's not recoil friendly, even though he gets rid of the bleed, and of course Liquid Courage, and I can't remember what the other one's called. It's not Deep Wounds. I always forget the name. The other thing is Bastion, I feel like it's more regen, so it feels more sustainable to me. But anyway, this is a long, slow fight against Luke Cage, which is fine. Anyway, at the end, it takes us 1 minute 51 seconds, so reasonable. And then we get another mutant in Cyclops, which I thought would be great. And so we're going with Bastion again. And I mean, I don't think Bastion is, to be honest, I don't think he's really geared towards mutants he has good specific mutant counters, but he can do lots of fights really well. While Solvarch is really geared towards mutants. So basically everything finished for Bastion between 1 and 2 minutes, which is really good. And he has some health left. I basically use up all of his health. So then the last part, I decide to do the same with Solvarch. I'm like, how far can he go on this path? Well, I actually want to do these 4 fights. This is actually my 3rd or 4th try. So I would say already Solvarch is less successful because it takes me more tries to do it. Well, I just did Bastion once and I sort of got the results I expected. So again, we won't watch these fights. I feel like I got better at playing Solvarch too. And so yeah, once again, we finish Gambit, and what does it take us? I think I did well this one. Was it in the minute? It was victory, minute 29. Okay, so I'm getting better at playing him. So that's a pretty reasonable score. Learning more about him. Then we got Black Widow again. Again, I feel like this fight lasted forever. This node is not easy. And so what really sort of handicapped me too a little bit, I must admit, was the recoils. But anyway, finished this fight, and how long did it take me? I think I did pretty well in this fight, even though it seemed long. 2 minutes 31. Okay, not too bad. And then I go against this Luke Cage fight. Took forever. It might be because I was having to be hesitant about my specials with the recoils. So 6 minutes, 7 minute fight. Okay, so that's a long time. And then the last one was Cyclops. And Cyclops goes pretty quick. Again, if you can fuel your charges, I think he does reasonably well. So there's Cyclops, goes down in, let's see, get the KO. And let's see where I'm at. How long did it take me? It took me, the exciting reveal is under 2 minutes. Yeah, 1:35. So let's just play a random fight while we talk. So here's my final analysis. I think Solvarch's a good champion with some interesting utility. I think the things that I find difficult with him are in fights that he gets slowed down because of the nodes and he can't really fly through your sequence. It'll cause trouble. I feel like in a fight like this, where he doesn't gain any benefit, it's not an energy attacker, it's not a mutant, it's really hard to ramp him up because his gain is so slow. It's basically 1 a second. So ramping up just takes forever, and you sort of have to do it twice. I feel like you have to ramp up once to get all your armors, and you have to ramp up again to do big damage off your SP2 in the energized mode. And so I feel like he's really opponent dependent. And so if he has the right opponent, he'll do okay. But okay is just as good as Bastion. In fact, maybe even a little less good than Bastion. I think Bastion is still far superior for all the matchups. Like, he takes the one that Bastion does the best and does them even better. And so yeah, unfortunately, I feel like Solvarch is just, he's a good tech, no doubt about it. And he's fun to play. He's interesting, sort of has that Nimrod-esque abilities, but he doesn't quite break into the top levels of the tech. I'd say a good, solid tech champion. And of course, there'll probably be specific times when he'll be amazing. Like the fact that he can use his cold snap. I find his heal block pretty hard to access. I mean, you just got to do a lot to get to it. But the cold snap is pretty cool. So having that could be a benefit. And yeah, overall, he's, as I said, fun, interesting, cool champion, not top of the meta. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I thought it was a good fair comparison of Solvarch. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your experiences of playing with him, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon. I'm sure another video. I think I'll be live tonight, so come and join me then. 21:30 Geneva. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.